Good morning and welcome to Be Growth Driven. Audrey here, your substitute host. Hopefully we'll have a great show for you. Change of scenery, change of host. So today we're going to be talking with a few, and hopefully more join us throughout the course of the show, a few licensees for 10X, talking about what it takes to be a professional salesperson. And no doubt they know more than anyone as they've taken the step to want to train others or coach others on this same process. So we're going to welcome Christian, Glenn, and Benjamin to the show this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Audrey.
Great.
Thank you.
Good. I can hear everybody. So we're going to go around real quick and do an intro, keeping it short. And I want to know, you see your names. So you don't need to know your names. That's okay. Where you're from or where you currently are, because we're all everywhere. What you do for work and how long have you been a licensee? How did you find 10X? So if you can put that into a quick bit, let's go with Glenn. Let's go with Glenn first.
Christian wants to go. He's ready. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Audrey. My name is Glenn. I'm from the wonderful island of Hawaii. And I found Grant back in 2018. And a question I've been trying to figure out how to ask him was like, hey, how do we bring 10X to the islands? And last year was the answer, become a licensee. I did it for me first. And, secondly is to help out the people over here to train them, because the training here is just life-changing, right? My wife and I, we run a media wedding company, and we are just partners in that. I do a few other things as well. My background's in the automotive industry, and we're using the licensee platform to help entrepreneurs grow here in Hawaii.
Nice. That's awesome. That's similar experience to Miriam, who might come later. Bring it to the people where you are, because Grant can't take it everywhere. So you're basically the ambassador. So awesome. Thank you, Glenn, for sharing. Automotive to weddings. We'll have to talk more about that. Benjamin, tell us, where are you from, where you are currently, what you do, and how long you've been a licensee or 10Xer.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. How you guys doing? I appreciate the invitation, and I'm happy to be here this morning. So I'm in the home improvement business, and we do a lot of outdoor living improvements, like high-end sunrooms and patio covers and decks and things like that. Over here in Washington State, near the capital, which is Olympia. So we're close to Brandon Dawson. I know he's down south, just about an hour and a half or so. And let's see. So I'm a newbie with the 10X licensee program. I got hooked in on that when I went to the Growth Con in March, and it was a no-brainer for me. As soon as I heard about the program and kind of put it in alignment with the things I already do in my life, as far as promoting Grant's content and things I do in my life, it was a no-brainer, and I thought it is a perfect opportunity for me to get involved. So yeah, just excited about it and just been plugging away, just looking for ways to grow that and grow the message.
Exactly. Very good. I wouldn't, that's interesting. Just now at this GrowthCon 5 is when you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a few months, right?
Awesome. Way to jump in. And was that your first GrowthCon, can I ask?
That was my first GrowthCon, and yeah, it was so impactful. It was memorable. There's just way too much good content, and the networking aspect, all the people I met there, it was just a great experience all together. So
it was interesting this year. This year was different than past ones. So you got in on a ground level awesomeness, because the past ones were not this way at all. So that we'll get back to that. Christian, please share with us what you do, where you're from, where you are currently, time zones, and how long have you been a licensee?
Thank you, Audrey. Really appreciate you guys asking me to come and join you today. Nice to meet you guys. Like I said, but like you said, my name is over there. I'm originally from Romania. I've been living in UK in Scotland for 14 years now, and I'm currently in Spain. So I'm kind of international. I've been with the Grant Cardone licensee program for almost 2 years now, and it's been quite a great experience. Unfortunately, I couldn't be on the GC5 because of the current restrictions. I tried my best to get there, but I was stopped twice at the airport. So that was quite an adventure as well. I'm working in sales in real estate, and also provide lots of information, coaching and mentoring on how to sell and buy properties, and how to become like a great salesperson, and not just a salesperson, but how to become a great person yourself. And I've been in implementing all the information I have and all the knowledge I gained through Grant Cardone and other programs I've been involved with, to my team and to all the people I'm getting in touch with. So I hope I'm going to provide you with some great insights today, and I'm sure I'm going to learn lots of great things from you. So thank you again for having me.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Awesome. And as others possibly might join, we'll chat with them too. So when we think about becoming a successful salesperson, the human side of us doesn't always like to brag, I'd like to think. And so it's hard for us to say, I am a professional. I know more than you on this, and I'm going to help you. So thinking about that, was it a big leap to go from student to instructor, or to take that advantage of, I know sales, let me help you? Was that a challenge, and how did you overcome that? Let's just go around. I'm sure it's the same way on my screen as yours. We'll go clockwise, and we can start with Christian.
Okay. For me, I think it was not just an impact. It was a great impact, because you get that buzz, you get great people working with, and Grant has his own ways to to take you from here and lift you up in 2 seconds. So that was something which has attracted me, because I have the knowledge, I have the experience in a way, but I just need that extra boost. And for me, like Benjamin said, it was no brainer to go and get into the licensee program, because it was the next step. So it was supposed to 10x it. We're supposed to just go and do more, and do it in scale it in a such a high level and speed at the same time.
Yes.
Because you don't just 10x it as I'm getting bigger. You shrink the time, because you do it faster. So that's exactly what's important. People have the tendency to forget one thing. There's only one thing we can't buy. We can recoup it in a way, but you can't buy it. It's your time. Because the time, if you don't manage your time properly, you can have all the money in the world, you can have whatever you want. But if you don't know how to utilize your time every second, not every minute, properly, then that's what you lose. You can become a millionaire, or you can become anything within a fraction of a second, if you just make the right decision in the right time.
Agreed. I that's one of the next questions, is about time, because that makes or breaks your day. Yesterday, I had a great day at work, but I know the one single factor that could have changed it was, how did I spend my time? Where could I have done better and utilized it more? So we'll get back to that. That's amazing that you bring that up before I even get to it, because that's a huge factor in your success in anything. Glenn, your thoughts on that, as far as being professional and saying, I got this, I know my stuff.
Yeah. For me, just seeing Grant and his team, the way that they operate, just opened up a new spectrum for me. I never even knew it existed. I grew from on an island, and we are so limited to the things we get exposed to. So thank God for the internet. But it just showed me, like, hey, there's more. Your potential is more. You could reach it better. And for me joining the licensee program, that was just another game changer, and it was a big challenge for me. It was a big step out of my comfort zone, and I feel like in order for me to teach it, I got to go learn and be it first, and then go ahead and share it with others. And it's just an overall, like, amazing experience for me. And Of course, I'm still learning, always continue learning, and it's just so awesome to just see that, hey, I can do more. I can do more than I did yesterday.
Yes. And guys, if you don't mind, let me stick with Glenn for just a minute here.
Sure.
I know they say you are the sum of your 5 people, and you surround yourself with people, hopefully, who have the same ideals as you. I never really put into context the fact that you're limited by space around you. The people, yeah. So has that been a challenge for you? It sounds like you probably always were a go-getter kind of person. Like, if you're different, that's probably going to be okay with you. Can I say that? I don't know. I've always been an out there person. But if you're going to do 10X, honestly, there's a piece of you that's always been that I'm a bit different than everybody else, and I know it. I'm going to do this. So has that been a challenge for the people around you to accept what you're doing in your life? Whether you say, hey, you guys should do this too, they see you doing it. Tell us a little bit about that, considering your environment is the people around you.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people have their doubts, and especially when we travel to Miami for GC5, a lot of people are like, "Whoa, what are you doing? You're traveling." I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it anyway." And so it was an opportunity to show, the people we're around, like, hey, like, don't be mentally trapped on what the media is telling you, what other people are telling you. Like, you can go out and do this. So, we use that as an opportunity now to just like show other people, like, hey, yeah, there's more. Don't settle.
Yeah, perfect. Definitely. Well, and if people are traveling to Hawaii for vacation, why can't you travel to Miami? I mean, come on. The planes are cleaner than they've ever been right now, people. Travel. All right, Benjamin, let's move to you. Same question about being a professional and feeling that, knowing that, and having that confidence in moving forward.
Yeah, well, first of all, just being a part of the licensee program is a huge honor to me. I was super excited, and I am excited to be part of this movement, and to be just kind of essentially partnered up with Grant to help him propel this message that he's just strongly built. But as far as like transitioning from the trainee to the trainer, that was also kind of something that I knew needed to happen. I've been following Grant for a few years. I know there's some people that have been following for 10 plus years, but I've probably been heavily consuming his content for about 3 years. And through that time, I've kind of helped out, well, not really in directly, but indirectly getting comments from friends and family saying, because I've been pretty active in social media content already too. Dropping tidbits of knowledge and things like that, and things that using my life as an example of, how I've implemented things to help me. And I've gotten comments from friends and family saying, hey, I appreciate what you said. I really I got a lot from your message. And so that part was kind of easy, actually. Being a professional at it is what's hard about it, but it did make sense to do that because I understood that, like, I enjoy helping people. And I especially I enjoy helping people through my own experiences and using myself as an example. So it's been real exciting, and I really enjoy being put in the position to actually officially help people now,
Nice. And that does, I was going to say, that probably is the tendency of any of us who have benefited from any of the training on Cardone U, any of the content we've taken in. When you hear other people, you're like, oh, I got something on that. I know something about that. Do you guys do that too?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can't help but share this. Or if you hear something similar to what Grant says, you're like, ooh, I wonder if they know. I wonder if they know Grant or follow.
You're like an excited kid. Me. Let me tell you something. I know something.
The bad thing there is you tend to overshare too, and then that's when your family has a little bit of negative, like, why is this all you ever talk about? I'm like, I'm excited about it. I learned this, and I want to share this. So
be obsessed.
Yes.
Speaking of that, Audrey, the company I work with I'm one of the franchisors in UK is called Purple Bricks. So I always talk about it. It's like it's in my blood. And somebody, actually a friend, said, look, if we're going to cut you in half, you're going to bleed purple, because that's the only thing you talk about. It's all about purple bricks this. But this shows the excitement and the dedication that you put your soul and your time in it. So that's why people say you always talk about this, but in time those people, they're going to come back and say, I know the person you're looking for. It's like
Yes.
Glenn or Audrey or Benjamin. It's like he's
Mhm.
the person or she's the person you need to go to, because you said it so many times that you're
Yes.
not just straight on it.
That's
Yes.
good.
Yep.
And that's one of the points too. When you're wanting to, Benjamin, you said it well. You want to help people. You also want to sell them. I heard someone say last week, I'm doing this with you and I'm doing this for you because I'm not taking advantage of you. No matter what you're selling, real estate, yards, lawn care, and making that beautiful experience outside, or your wedding experience. You're doing it with them. You're not doing something to them in a bad way for sales, but you're building that relationship and building your credibility, especially through social media and branding. Benjamin, you said you're on there a lot.
Yeah.
People then know you because of what you've preached, what you've taught, what you've taught, what you've shared. So that makes you a professional too, very credible. Back to time and white space. So we know white space is the killer of all things. And Christian mentioned making sure you utilize every second of the day. Do you have any experiences or things to share about that, Glenn or Benjamin, that have impacted you from versus pre-10X to now as a licensee or as a trainer to other people? Anything on that you might want to share?
Yeah. Um, my perspective on time has changed, right? Pre 10x to now. I am more stingy with my time. And then when I do have blank space or I'm not using my schedule, I have guilt, you know,
Yes.
and because I know, like, okay, I got this and that to do, but some days, like, mentally you're like exhausted, you got to take a moment to breathe. But it's there now, like I need to just keep on doing, keep on going, keep
Yeah.
on um making steps towards my goals. And yeah, like time is such a big thing, and people don't realize that even when it comes to selling, like um you know a lot of people, you're not just selling a product, sometimes you're selling the person time spent, time to think about it, right? You're solving that issue and saving that for them. And so time is such a big thing to think about, and you can use it creatively, when you're pitching a deal and whatnot. So definitely has changed dramatically for me.
Yes. Yes. And my son's in the background. I know he can hear me. When you're younger, it is so hard to grasp the concept of time management. But I know for me through high school, everybody always says, oh, time flies. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because when you're younger and have not as many responsibilities, you don't get that. But yeah, as soon as you start adulting, and then when you start 10Xing, yeah, time as a whole new concept, and making sure prioritizing. I like to prioritize, but in the moment of prioritizing, I tend to postpone other things that should have been taken care of. So that's my challenge is what's hot. Don't forget about what's lukewarm. So Benjamin, any thoughts on time and the importance or use of it for you? You
Yeah.
have seasonal work, so you definitely have a concern on time.
Yeah. So, well, actually, we work year round, so we don't
Nice.
stop. We build structures, so it can get slower during the winter seasons, but we don't stop.
Gotcha.
Yeah, even before I started the business and worked for another company, I used to work building sunrooms by myself in the freezing cold. So
Okay.
we don't stop for that. But yeah, white space on the calendar. When I heard Grant Cardone put it in that perspective, it's just weird. Like he says, you guys know what I'm talking about. The way he says things, his one-liners really just kind of impact me and really just plant seeds in my mentality to make me just look at things a lot differently. And now white space on the calendar is literally the enemy for me. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I need to fill it up. But more importantly, I've learned that just filling it up with stuff that actually isn't moving the needle is very important too. There's a difference between being busy and there's a difference between being productive.
Yes.
You can be busy all day and not get a single thing done, or you can be productive all day and get massive amounts of results out of it.
Yes.
And so being able to identify what you're actually putting your time into and like what kind of results you expect out of it and what you're getting out of it is a huge factor for me too. So just very, very in tune with not only where my time is going, but what it's doing for this goal or my target for the day.
Yes. One of the things that Grant said that I think of each day, especially when I have a not productive day, is when he goes home and his kids, he goes, your kids aren't asking, did you have a good day at work? They're asking, did you make some money to buy them what they need and take care of them? And each day, if the revenue's not there, I'm like, oh, what could I have done better to have gotten that? So again, focus and prioritizing. But yeah, productive versus busy is something we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I'll digress a little on that. Once you know what you know, and you look at the world around you. So I know most of the people I am in touch with aren't entrepreneurs, don't have their own business. They're corporate. They work for somebody else. When I look at some of them and the jobs they do and how big their departments are, I'm like, how many people does it really take to do the job? How much work do you really do each day? And I'm like, in the whole world, I don't know. I just look at it differently. Does that ring a bell with you guys at all? Or am I crazy? Because I'm like, how many jobs are not essential in the end? And how many people does it really take?
Yeah. Speaking of that, and what Benjamin said about being productive earlier, you see, I see it in a different way, and I always preach it to all the people, including my team and people I work with. They say, look, it's one thing to be efficient, but it's the other thing to be effective. Because being effective makes a huge difference on efficiency. So doing one thing in the right way is going to create and grow your efficiency so much that if you do it, you try to be, I need to do all the things, and you just get like limited, impact on everything you do. It's going to be the other way around. So if you do one thing in a great way, the rest of it just going to piggyback on top of it, and by the end of the day, even if you haven't done the whole list you have on your diary, the impact you made on that day, it's just massive in comparing to trying to do everything in one day. So it's always important to do it in an effective way.
I needed to hear that. Thank you. I needed that. That's huge. So one of the other points of, we all here are working in our own businesses. So I've been covering in my Cardone U right now in the advanced section, I've been covering being sold on your company and your product. Do you use it? How do you feel about it? Our companies and products are our own. So do you guys ever have that challenge or a moment where not questioning or doubt, but those moments that come up like, why am I doing this? Any impactful thoughts on that, or anything to share about how you get over those slumps or humps and keep on pressing forward? Glenn, you shook your head yes. What anything to share?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Being sold in your product. I mean, I've never heard about it the way that Grant puts it, like it just rang a memory in my mind when we were starting out our wedding media company. We just signed up for Cardone U, and we were on it for like 3 months, I think. And we did our first in-person expo, and we were showing up with the industry veterans, we're side by side with them, and we're a newbie. We don't know, nobody knows us, but we had Cardone U. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, look, as long as we know the content, we'll be okay. And sure enough, like we, combined it with our personality, of course, and we just morphed it into us. And that was like an all amazing experience. We killed it. All right. So being from like nobody knew us, and like we got like 100 leads, and we was just going, our energy was there, attitude was there. And like from just seeing that result, like that just enforced and validated what we're doing, gave us more momentum, and just continued on. And like, okay, what's more? What's next? Yes.
Right? You want another expo. You're like, okay, we did great at that one. When's the next one? Next weekend? And you're like, no, in 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, last year our industry got demolished because of COVID, right? So, but
your industry is going to have a lot of money and flow because people held off and waited. This is a once in a lifetime business you're in, so people want the full experience. I imagine it's going to boom.
Oh yeah, we're starting to see it already, and it's just been great. It's been amazing.
Got to save all during COVID so they can have an even bigger wedding.
There you go.
People are getting creative.
But yeah, and Benjamin, you too, you've worked for someone doing it. Now it's your own. Do you ever have those moments, or do you have that empowerment of, I got this? not work.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have those moments, where we're kind of just, it's a roller coaster. I think for the majority, those are very brief moments, I would say. And I probably assume that it's the same way for you guys or anybody else who's kind of doing these things. I mean, we're human. We have doubt. We just naturally have that doubt, those doubtful moments, but it's kind of how you handle those moments that really, challenge yourself and push you through your actual target and like what the big picture is, what you're trying to accomplish overall and long term, as you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But as far as being sold on your company, has a tremendous impact on your confidence level. The more you are sold on your product and your purpose and the type of value you provide, it makes it that much easier to pitch, to get people on board with your idea.
Yeah.
You believe in it. And it's so much easier. The process for you to actually convey that message is just so much easier. And the people, they read that, they see that.
Yes.
People are pretty good in general at reading people and getting a good judgment of character through interaction. And so if you're not sold on your product, it's going to come across to the customer and the person very clear. And if you are, same thing, they're going to know it. But it's huge for confidence, and I would say it's necessary if you're going to run a business of any sort. You have to be sold on your product, or otherwise it's just not going to get to the levels that you want.
Right. Exactly. Now, that being said, we all have amazing training from Cardone U. We all have trust and confidence in our product and services and ourselves. Dealing with angry customers, that's when the true sales comes out. That's when the true stuff happens. Any experiences anybody wants to share about how the training definitely helped you turn something around?
Yeah, no, I if you don't mind, I'll start with this one. You see, because the nature of my work, one of the most important things that people have in their life is their home. So when they give you their home and their house, deal with the most important thing in my life. The pressure is not just on you, but it's on them as well. So if something very little goes wrong, it doesn't matter how much good you've done. Everything is just go flush to the toilet, and the only thing they remember is that little thing. But what I do is and it happened probably at least once a month, and sometimes even more often that when people just come in like, I'm not happy with this. And I'm the same, like Grant says, I love to see the people coming to me and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Because that's how you learn. That's how you embrace that you need to work on something, or you understand the customer better, how I can handle every person. Because, like I think Benjamin said earlier on, we are all human beings. Everybody thinks in a different way. We have different experiences, different approaches, and different perspectives for that. What that matters in the field or whatever you do in your life. But what I do, I always ask the question, what can I do for you? I know that we've done it wrong. Tell me, what can I do for you right now to make it better? Because the customer, that's what he wants. It doesn't matter if it's the seller or your client, it's everybody around you. It's not just the person working with you. It's your spouse, your kids, everything else. So people have the tendency to hide from that question, to ask the question, because you don't know what they're gonna want from you. They're like, I don't want to ask the question because they're gonna ask you something. What am I doing?
Something I can't answer.
I know. So that's the thing. I always ask the question. Ask the hard questions, because you're gonna get such a great result in the back of it. You're gonna get so much out of it, even if you can't help them, because it's out of your expertise. Or say, look, leave it with me. I don't know. You need to be honest. Just say, look, I can't help you with this, but I'll try my best to find, Glenn or Audrey or Joel. I know people. Let me find it for you. Let me, because if you show that to the customer, or whoever is that person you're dealing with, that you care, then the relationship is gonna grow. They're gonna ease up because they remember why they picked you in the first place. So that's, you just need to go back into it.
And I think it speaks volumes too, that if you don't know how to fix it to make them happy, but someone else over here does, and you refer them to that person and say, I know they can help with this, that speaks volumes, because that shows your confidence, but your humility at the same time.
Exactly.
As backwards as that sounds.
And the passion you speak to, it makes so much importance, because you said it earlier about believing in your product, but it's not believing in your product; it's about believing in you, that you can do it. Because so many. Sorry, I'm just going to be quick on this.
Oh, you're fine. Go.
Picking up on something you guys said earlier, and I'm so passionate. I'm like, I need to say all the stuff I need to say.
Yes.
But the thing is that when you're passionate about what you do, you understand what the person wants. You understand where you're going, and you take that person with you on your journey, because it's not just about the sale. It's about how you take that journey from A to B or A to Z. Just depends how you want to phrase it. So passion in your product, it's important. And so many people are failing because they're trying to, like you, Audrey said, you're creating your own product in-house. But we don't need to create our own product. We just need to take one, put our own spin on it, because you don't need to reinvent life. Life is there. Just pick all the things from everywhere and make your own from other pieces. Make it your own, and your stamp, your smile, and your expertise. Glenn, your Benjamin, you come in with, I can do stuff all year round. I'm not just halfway, like Audrey thought, like only doing half because of the summer or everything else. That makes the difference. That makes the huge difference in what we do.
Yes, you sell yourself, your company, and your product. It's a package deal. It's a package deal. One more thing I want to ask, and then we'll probably wrap this up, because we're talking about sales and being professional. So there's always people who believe or say, and I'm guilty of it, natural born salesperson. Now we know that's not always true, but do you believe there's certain qualities that people have, or that you have, any three of you, that helped you to identify this and move forward with sales? Was there something in you or something you wanted, a quality you wanted to develop, that led you to this sales professional life? Because being an order taker and being a salesperson are two different things. We know that. So is there any one thing you can put your finger on, or two things that you had or wanted that helped you advance in your sales? Who wants to say anything first?
I could chime in.
Okay.
Like, it's so funny that saying, people are born a natural salesperson. I heard it from my father-in-law, and he was talking about me. I'm like, I am nowhere near born sales ready. I was extremely introverted. My confidence was low and whatnot. So like this transformation through 10X, it was just amazing. It brought me the confidence. It brought me the knowledge and the skills required to change my perspective and be out there and be courageous, like it's whatever, all the things that Grant say, I'm just here repeating in my head, and like I can do this, I can do that. Like, we got the technology to go from the platforms to just help people solve their problems. Mm-hmm. And I think a big piece was the confidence and knowledge for me, learning that like it can be learned. It can be like people can gain confidence, in what they do. They just gotta, there will be some uncomfortable times. There will be a lot to learn, but it's possible because, I've gone through it myself. So that would be like the two pieces I would say.
Yeah. Well, and that feeling too, once you've learned it, and when you face those uncomfortable times and come out of it positively, that's you're like, yes, I got this. And you have to remember that feeling when it gets difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin,
Absolutely.
Anything you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. And to the point that you just said, Aubrey, me and my daughter just did a post the other day about that exact thing, about confidence and that journey from this side to this side, where nobody likes that process in between there. But as soon as you get to this side, huge sense of accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good stuff. As far as, like Glenn said, I also was not a born sales rep. Very uncomfortable starting out with it. I think my first sales position, I was 18 years old doing telemarketing, cold calls, by the hundreds. And I was good at it. I didn't know it, but I ended up being good at it. One of the top reps there. Unfortunately, I was selling a product that I didn't believe in. I didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
But I did realize that if I was able to sell something that I wasn't, sold on, and didn't, get behind, how much easier would it be if I actually sold something I did believe in, I was sold on.
Yeah.
And I was completely right, because I've had other jobs, kind of like Todd. I was in Cutco for a little bit, and so I sometimes. So I've had some sales positions, but I realized that the more sold and the more belief I had in the value that I'm actually providing for a customer or person in general, it's just a lot easier. But those skills just kind of develop. It's definitely nothing that just happens. There might, it's probably easier for some people than others. But in general, these are skills that need to be built upon. You need to work that muscle out. You need to put yourself in the fire, or as Jared likes to say, you need to get yourself in the ring. You just gotta work that muscle out and get in there and put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, like Glenn was saying. The more discomfort that you can experience, the more comfortable you will be in those discomfort times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you got to get through a few and build that confidence in it. Yeah. I feel like I wake up every morning and I've forgotten everything I've learned. I'm like I know when I get on the phone, it's all going to come together, but it's hard because I'm like, what if they, and you just kind of revert again back to that human tendency of what if I don't remember this? But I mean, where else have you ever seen all this content available? And you have to go to it. You have to want to take it. You have to want to be better. Because it can be a requirement of your job to do Cardone You, or it could be an excitement of your job to do Cardone You. And those who want to do it I never knew about personal development and making yourself a better person other than Oprah saying feel good stuff on her talk show. So when I talk to people who actually seek it out, want to do better, invested in and paid for something that they knew would help them, I'm impressed. And it makes me think more about, how shallow are you, Audrey? Can you do better? What can you improve on next? So this has been a huge experience for me, and talking to you guys and you guys sharing your expertise and interest in it has helped me tremendously. I appreciate your guys' personal sentiments and answering these questions very organically, not even planned or scripted. So thank you guys so much.
Look, if I want just 2 seconds on the sales side, all guys, you picked up on great aspects of every sales process, but what we have the tendency to forget is the pressure we put on everything that we do is actually causing it, because people think that they go on one thing, they're like, I'm just a salesperson, or I need to be a great salesperson. But what we have the tendency to forget is that we are all salespeople. All, because from being a kid, when you want your candy, you try to sell something to your mom in a way so you can gain that. So we sell all the time. It's all how we perceive it. And the more pressure we put on us is the more you do. Like, you wake up in the morning, or you say, like, I forgot everything. You feel like a fraud because, like, again, and you put the pressure on yourself. But we have this within us. We are everything we need. It's within us. We just need to slow down, listen to ourselves, and then accept.
Yes. And I heard it said once, it was about scripture, but it's also probably applicable to anything you read or put in, any media you put it in there, you can draw it back out. So if you put the good stuff in there, it'll come out and it'll be there when you need it. Because our minds are amazing. In the moment, you're like, I remember that exactly. Let me say this. So it's there, but you got to put it in there first, right?
Right.
Well, exactly what you eat, what you get. If you want to have a great body, you eat healthy. If you want to have a great mind, you read great books. You don't just stay on social media and watch movies. It's not going to happen. It's like the same thing.
Exactly. And I think with the whole pandemic, that proved true. Who was going to sit at home and watch movies and binge watch, and who was working or doing things to better themselves? That rang true across the board of the kind of person you are.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you the best in your journey on licensees. To me, that was something new I hadn't heard about just a few years ago, and I think it is just a few years old. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds over time and all the success you guys are going to have. Thank you for your time today and your time in training others and grabbing this. Not everybody is a licensee. You guys are a small group for a reason. There's something special about you guys. So thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Audrey.
Yeah,
thank you, Audrey. It's been a pleasure, guys.
No
Great.
problem.
Guys.
Have a great rest of your day. Join us again next week. Like and subscribe. I know we're on YouTube, Be Growth Driven. Go to our website as well. Like, subscribe. Join us every week. We have something insightful to share every week on different topics of how to grow yourself, grow your business, and do better. So join us again next week. The topic is online, so go like and subscribe, and you'll see next week's. And until then, be great, because nothing else pays. If I'm allowed to say it.